client retention, growing clients, the cuts in the budgets, the delays in the decision making. People felt that was a real big challenge over 2024, but also lots were optimistic that that was going to change. And for me, I was like, okay, if that was a challenge, but now you think it's going to change, why? What's making you believe that's going to change? So, how are agencies thinking that without actually getting that feedback? So, Remini, I guess my first question is, why do so many agencies have fear or struggle to actually ask that question with their clients to get that honest feedback about them?
I think people are afraid of the truth often. They're afraid of what their clients are going to say. And for a couple of reasons. One of them is that it could be that they're afraid that their clients are going to say something negative about them, and that they might be thinking opening themselves up for something going wrong, and actually, they're afraid of what, it might be that it's personal, it might be that it's about the team, it might be, it's it could be any host of different things that makes them afraid of doing it. The other thing I think they're afraid of is the fact that when their clients have said there's an issue, or we want you to be delivering X or Y, they have to act on it, because if all your clients are saying you need to be doing something differently, then you need to be doing it, and they often think they haven't got the time for it or the headspace for it, and so they're scared of doing it. And it's also really difficult to ask for honest feedback, and it's hard for the clients to feedback honestly to your face as well sometimes. So I think there's a number of different reasons for that.
There's a few things there. Okay, okay. And would you encourage client agencies to have those regular feedback sessions with their clients? Should that be quarterly, half yearly, once a year? What would be your sort of thoughts around that?
I think of course they should. Absolutely. I think ongoing relationship, ongoing conversations with your clients is really, really important. I think people should be putting that into their processes to make sure that they're actually engaging with their clients ongoing, so they've got human, proper, good relationships with their clients. I think formal feedback, they should be doing it at least once or twice a year. So they have set KPIs and set questions that they're asking to look at how they can be growing and developing and improving, and then looking at the bigger picture to how they can improve things. And that should be part of their processes ongoing, to ensure that they can actually improve and grow as a result of uh, the feedback.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I bang on a lot of is I don't think agencies, excuse me, I don't think agencies invest in their people enough in terms of training, coaching, mentoring that gives those people the skills to actually do that. So it's
Mm,
okay, okay, oh, you need to get feedback, but if you've not given the people the framework in to do that in a positive way, I
yeah.
always think that's one of the challenges of why they don't do that. So
Yes.
if we're not asking for that feedback, if we're struggling to put the team in there to do that, Remedy, what, in your opinion, what are the top three things? You can choose first if you want, but top three things that clients are saying they want from their agencies. What are
Yeah.
the three key things that they're saying? Look, this is what I'm wanting from my agency.
Well, so I mean, the main thing I do with my work is I interview people's clients, and I interview as an impartial person. So people are very honest with me, so they actually, feedback the truth. And there's three things that agency clients, it's always at least one of them, but it's lack of processes can often be a problem, lack of proactivity, and lack of communication. Obviously, they're all really tied together, but those three things, um, if agencies and businesses could really proactively look at how they can improve that, they would improve their business and their relationships with their clients overall. And so, yeah, those are the three things that clients
Just say
want
them
more of.
again, Remedy.
So, lack of processes,
And
or,
when you
or it's
say
kind of
process,
lack
what do
of
you
or
actually mean by that?
inadequate.
Inadequate or lack of processes. What do you actually mean by that?
It's things like having processes for meetings and putting in agendas and setting expectations, onboarding, onboarding's a massive issue, which we probably should touch on, but
Yeah,
it's
let's do that because I think that is a big problem with agencies bringing new clients on, and that's why I sort of brought that process up because Talk to us a little bit about that onboarding of a new client, 'cause I think it's so important.
Well, the onboarding thing, I think, is one of the main areas that agencies start having problems right from the beginning and then throughout the whole relationship. So agencies often say to me, "Oh yeah, we've got onboarding paperwork. We give it to our clients when they sign up, but then they don't do much beyond that." And actually, what they need to be doing is onboarding their clients, setting their expectations, setting the rules so that the clients are aware of what they need to be doing when they need to be delivering things, that they have the senior people on their side saying yes or no and feeding back, and having that engagement right from day one with the client and the right people within the client for the agency. Because what often happens is that the feedback I get from end clients is that, we don't know what's in scope. We don't know. We have to chase them all the time. They get kind of frustrated because their agencies are just kind of telling them stuff or not being kind of challenging enough to get the project working in a way that actually they're the expert. So the clients feel let down by the
Okay.
agencies from day one. And I think that so putting in processes, onboarding processes right from the beginning is really important. But the other thing is making sure that when you get new team members on the end client side, like a new marketing director, you onboard them in the middle of the project if they join in the middle of the project. And the same with internally, the teams internally. It's really important that you onboard your team as well if they're new, because actually that's where things slip and go wrong. Um,
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So basically, in old-fashioned terms, setting your stall out.
yes, exactly.
This is
Um,
how it's going to be. But then if you've got new people from the client or new people from the agency, actually telling them this is how we work with this client, this is what we do. I,
Exactly. And
I
set those expectations, because actually if the clients aren't aware that if they don't deliver their content or whatever it is by X, the work won't get done. And you've got to avoid that scope creep and those issues within, the working project.
okay.
Um, so
So
very important.
process driven, set your stall out, honest
Mm,
conversations. I really like the thing about the meetings and agendas. I'm not sure
yes.
how many businesses actually, do say, okay, in this meeting, this is the agenda, this is what we're trying to achieve. Do you want to
Yes.
talk a little bit around that? Because I think that's super important.
Well, again, I mean, the end clients often complain about that, as they say that they've got kind of inexperienced people running the meetings, and they kind of waffle on, and they don't know what they're going to be getting. They don't have the goals set at the beginning of the meeting, so that they feel like they're either wasting time and things aren't happening, and then the client ends up feeling like they've got to chase the agency to get the work done. I think part of the problem, like you said at the very beginning, is that lack of training
Yeah,
with the teams, and especially, I'm about to sound ancient, the younger members of the team. And then the problem we've got now, of course, is with the remote working, that those younger team members, they're not learning from the oldies like us, and they're not they're well, they're not learning from the experienced people, but they're also not learning from each other
yeah.
enough. And the amount of time that gets wasted by people having to recreate the wheel with everything that they do, because they're not having the water cooler moments to learn that, Bob did this, and actually I could be doing that as well. There's a lot of kind of slippage within
Yeah.
the
I,
working week.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges of remote working.
Mm.
Speaking to one of my clients yesterday, and he said they were doing a pitch, and all the creative team were in together. It was a big pitch, and at the end he said, "How did you feel?" And I was like, "It's amazing," and he was like, "Yes, come in the office. This is
Yes,
what it's like."
yes, yeah.
Trying to be over Teams or whatever. So we've got the process. Get on top of your process. Lay your stall out. If you're
Yeah.
having a meeting, set an agenda. Go what the goals, the objectives are. To keep that really concise. What was the second thing you said,
So,
Remedy?
with lack of or kind of inadequate communication. So again, similar to the processes, but it's actually building your relationship, and communicating with your clients in a way that it's less transactional. It's about having an honest conversation, an honest communication, and also finding out how your clients want to communicate. how do they want it? Is it better to pick up the phone, which is terrifying for the younger generation? Um, is it emails? How should you be communicating with your clients, and actually make sure that you are communicating in a way that's going to work for both parties, but also making sure that you're communicating regularly, and whether you put that into your processes, like I said at the beginning, if it's feedback or it's just having those ongoing conversations, so that you can ring up a client, hey, we had this great idea, we'd love to help. And then that gives you the opportunities to open up the doors for new work without sounding salesy, because you've got that kind of human relationship. I mean, there's lots around that, but I think that's a key
So
thing.
make sure you've got a planned communication strategy that's
Yes,
fed into your team and they understand why you're doing it, how you should be doing it as well.
yes, yes.
There we
And
go.
train your team. And again, the problem with that remote working, again, I'm not anti remote working. I think a mixture is good,
Well,
but
we're both at home today, so it's got to be
yes,
good.
exactly, yes. But it's uh, giving people the courage and the confidence and the ability to communicate in a way that is human and engaging is really important. And
Yeah.
again, I think that's something that is missing a lot of the time, and that's what clients say to me. Well, I wish they'd communicate more with us. They could be better at engaging with us more. And then that leads into the third one, which is proactivity. So it's actually making sure that you're actually proactively following up with your clients. You're proactively telling them when you've done the work what the results are, and or you're proactively telling them there's an issue with this because of that, and not being afraid of telling them the truth and having those open dialogues with them.
And that probably stems from if you've set your stall out with great processes, you are actually got a framework for communication of how they want to be communicated to. That makes that conversation then a lot easier.
Exactly, exactly. And then that leads into that proactive piece. It's kind of blurred into the fourth one, which is often the piece that turns into more work for my clients, is being more strategic. So being more proactive with your thinking and the way you're engaging with your clients, but by being proactive in understanding your clients' needs, goals, wants, and what they need for their future business. Um, then leads into the strategy piece, which actually often is either overlooked by the client and taken advantage of, and the agencies are losing out on revenue because they're not charging for the strategy piece, or they're wasting the client's time, and they're wasting the client's time with coming up with ideas that are totally irrelevant because they haven't proactively understood the goals of the client. Um, but so I think taking the time to be more strategic with your clients and understanding them and their needs is again one of the key things that end clients complain to me about. But then that opens up new revenue opportunities as a
Yeah.
thing that they could be
So,
delivering.
so I think that's something that comes up a lot. I speak to a lot of CMOs and marketing directors. I wish my agencies come up with ideas. They tell me what my problems are before I know what my problems are.
Yeah.
How do agencies do that? How should they be doing that? How do they put a framework in place within their agency that says, let's look at our clients, let's find out where they are now, but where they should be, what their clients doing, etc. How do they go about doing that, Remedy?
Well, the way I the key thing that I do and I suggest to my clients is when I'm interviewing their clients, I'll say to the clients, the agency is thinking of delivering a quarterly strategic review for you, where they're going to be proactively looking at new innovations for you as a business, because we've taken the time to understand their business, would this be something you'd be interested in? And then having those quarterly strategic sessions with the clients. And 9 times out of 10, the clients go, yes, we'd love that. That would be amazing. And that's something that can be charged for. Because, of course, actually, it's not fair of the end clients to be thinking, oh, yeah, my agency should be delivering something for free with, being strategic, which, of course, a lot of end clients do. Um, but it means that you've got to have the courage to say this is a charge for piece, because we're going to take time away to actually think about your business and what we could be doing differently and strategically, because so people should be charging for that, but they need to say to their clients, this is what we're doing, how can we help you?
So does that fall back with the process and communication piece? If you're not setting your stall out and asking these questions up front, is that why this doesn't happen?
Yes, often, yeah. And I think that, I mean, the other thing that is amazing is how few uh, end clients know what the agencies actually do other than the one piece of work that they're doing. And so there's lots of
Okay.
missed opportunities for work that agencies could be doing for their clients because they're not actually conveying that to their clients. But again, that goes back to the communication and the lack of confidence, because often what happens is that the agency, again, often the younger people, they're afraid to sound salesy, so they don't share what they're doing because
Yes.
they don't want to sound like they're being pushy, which is absolutely right that they shouldn't be sounding pushy. But it's kind of it's getting that relationship going that enables them to be able to say, "Oh, we did this great thing for another client. Would that be something of interest to you?"
Would that
Kind of
be?
thing.
I think the word sales is really apt in our industry, and the say the Alliance of Independent Agencies event I was at yesterday. I think the account teams, whether you're an account director and manager exec, they don't think they work in sales.
Mm,
And ultimately, the agency is a sales business. It's selling their expertise. It's selling their services. And I would say to people, a client, a CMO, doesn't come to work, finds a bag of money and thinks, I'll give it to agency X. They only reach out if they've got a problem or a challenge that they think you as an agency can help with. So how do we speak? How do we work with our account team, the ADs, the CSDs, the AMs, to get them to understand that, to really get them to appreciate that what you're doing is solving often complex challenges for a business, and as a result of that, there has to be like a commercial value
mm,
for you because you're solving a problem that's got a commercial value to them.
mm.
How should agencies go about breaking this down and really getting the teams to understand this is why we're here?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting when you were saying about kind of the account directors of sales. Ultimately, I think everyone's a sales.
Yes.
Everyone in the team it should be thinking about sales. What can they be doing better for their clients? And but I think it's a big part of that is understanding what the uh, understanding the goals of the client and taking the time to learn that. But the only way you're going to do that is spending time talking to your clients, and again being proactive about it. And so it's about nurturing those relationships. And so I think, like I said, if you set time aside to learn about your clients, to think about how you can help them, and kind of have those brainstorming sessions as a team to think about innovative things you could be doing, and then feeding that back to your clients. And if your clients know that you're giving them that love, even when they're not asking for it, they're going to be more loyal and grateful for it if you are actually taking the time to really understand them. So I think it's about being proactive about understanding your clients and building those relationships with your clients.
Yeah, it feels like the agencies need to be saying, okay, depending on the size of the client and the revenue they bring or the potential they could bring, it needs to be strategically planned in to the
Mm,
agency's year, if
yeah.
you like. We've got this client, we think we could grow them to here. Let's set the time aside, whether that's with the AED or the creative director or whatever, to really understand how could we bring valuable stuff to them to try to grow this account. I don't see many agencies actually doing that. Do you, Remeny?
Um, I mean, some, but I mean, I think that, I mean, it's interesting, the strategic piece. I would say of all the clients I've interviewed for, I'd probably only say about 10-20% of them have actually been recognized as being strategic. The majority of my clients and their clients don't see them as being strategic. And although my clients say that they are strategic, because of course you need to be, but I
Yeah.
think it's about being proactive about it and letting your clients know about it. And also opening up, understanding what your clients want and think about where they see gaps within your agency. So one of my questions when I'm interviewing clients is, is there anything you wish they could be doing for you that they're not already doing? Or do you see any gaps within the agency that maybe they could, and that might be a person, it might be a skill that you think that they could be doing more of? And just like when I interview people doing that, it opens up all sorts of doors and realizations for the agencies how they can actually grow and improve off the back of what their clients are saying to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to proactively understand what your clients actually want to help
Okay.
you improve.
So how do agencies actually go about doing this? Because my thing this year is I'm going to challenge everyone. I see these plans in place, but I don't see execute, execute, execute. I literally,
Yes.
there's my plan, and I'm like, okay, how are you going to execute it? So if we've said, okay, we're going to have a plan to be more proactive for our clients, to communicate better, how do agencies get that feedback? What should they be doing? How do they then use that feedback to create that overall
Mm,
shape their strategy? Because a plan is just a plan on paper. How do
yeah.
they go about actually day to day, week by week, execute that plan? What are some good tips for agencies, Remini?
Well, I think it goes back to what I said before, which is, those three things is be kind of, when you're planning, make sure that you're planning in the communication side of it. Make sure that you're being proactive with your clients and you're engaging with them and that you've got the right processes in place and ask for feedback. And so, whether or not you do it in house or you have someone who's not, I mean, when I did it, when I worked at the agency I was at, I used to do interviews for our clients, but it was about reacting to that one client as opposed to looking at the bigger picture. But I wasn't on the projects. So if you've got someone in house who can do the interviews for you, then that is one way of doing it. And because you don't want someone who's personally involved with projects to get that feedback, or
Yeah,
you get someone like me who can do it as an impartially as an outsider to do it. But then when you get that feedback from your clients, you have to act on it, because if all your clients are saying you're rubbish at processes, or they're not being strategic enough, you've got to act on it, and you've got to feed back to your clients. You've got to be accountable to your clients and make sure your clients are feeling engaged and you're building that human relationship with your clients every day, not just when you're trying to get feedback.
just know we're trying to, yeah. So overall, I'm getting a sense of it's about having a planned process within the agency
Hmm.
to deal with the clients,
Hmm.
communicating this internally with the team, and it may
Yeah.
be different on a client by client basis, but this is what we're going to do. To me, that feels like that's the plan.
Yeah.
I think most agencies will do that. I think I would urge the agencies then to say manage the behaviours when you're executing that. Are you checking in that you've actually had that call with the client this month that was planned? What
Mm.
was the feedback?
Mm.
I think all the things you're saying, agencies do. Maybe it's a time to go, okay, really get down to executing these plans.
Yeah.
How do you actually do it? Have you got any tips, for agencies that you've seen that goes, look, this is a framework to work in?
um I mean, I think that the main thing is to, I mean, I've got not specific frameworks, but I think it's about taking the time to kind of actively listen to your clients and then act on it. And so it's, as you say, it's different per client, but it's about understanding what your clients want and need, and then being accountable to your clients, but also your teams, and making sure that your teams have the tools to be able to engage with their clients better and give them the confidence to do that. Because I think again that's something that's often missing,
Yeah,
and put in place ways of enabling people to feel confident to build those human relationships with their
I
clients.
think I think that investment in the team, which is normally time to
Mm.
really coach, train, mentor them, to be confident in having those conversations, I think is really missing in the agency landscape.
Yeah,
And I think it is worse because of the remote working. I think
yeah,
that
yeah,
that has become harder.
yeah.
Um, Remini, can you believe it's 9:57?
Oh my goodness.
I know, this goes so quick. I said we finish at 5:02, so we're a couple of minutes over. We always ask our amazing guests on the A game to give us one piece of advice you would give to agencies that they can start doing today. I think you've given loads of advice that they can all take away. And I'll definitely be looking at some of our processing. And, we really this sharp on this? But if there's one thing you'd say, right, today, start doing this, what would it be?
I would pick up the phone to your kind of favorite clients and ask for some feedback. How can you improve, and what could you be doing better? And just listen to what your clients are saying. And but remember to be human, and don't rely on tech all the time. Be more engaging with your clients.
I think that's really good advice. So be human, zip your big girl or big boy pants up
Yep.
and get on the phone and actually get that honest feedback from your client.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. I love it, Remeny. Remeny, thank you so much for taking the time today to join us. We know that clients are going to be a big topic in 2025, growing them, getting more revenue, the length of time things are taking. I would say to the agencies on who are listening to this, remember the clients, the CMOs, the marketing directors are facing the same things internally as you're facing externally. So
Yeah.
bear that in mind when you're getting frustrations about times. They're actually going through this internally. Maybe in your process with your clients, ask for more honest feedback, ask more questions around where actually uh, is this being driven from, and I think you'll get better answers which might uh, undo some frustrations agencies may be feeling in timeframes and things like that.